Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be playing Boros Energy. Is it still the Menace of Modern, or is it garbage? We'll find out today. But no, the deck still stays in the top 5 standing. It's slowly been trickling down. I've been saying, even when the deck was strong, I was like, people just need to play more sideboard hate for it, for things like Wrath of Skies, Pyroclasm, things like that. The deck has a very strong kind of mid-range aggro plan where they can go really fast with Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Ragavan, or they can play the long game with things like Phlage and Seasoned Pyromancer. They have some fair removal and things like Static Prison, Galvanic Discharge, Thraben Charm. Like, the deck, in its essence, is probably one of the most fair decks in Modern. But Modern slowly becoming more and more unfair as we see more of the Blink strategies rise up. The deck's been on the downtick since Quantum Riddler got printed. Quantum Riddler is a pretty big hurdle for the deck to get through. It provides them a lot of card advantage. It's difficult for this deck to attack through. And really the only means of hitting it are Static Prison, a really large Galvanic Discharge that you kind of have to build toward, a Thraben Charm that you have to build toward. Goblin Bombardment's a really bad answer to Quantum Riddler, but if you really have to, it's it. Like, you could double cast Phlage. Like, it takes a lot to deal with a Quantum Riddler for this deck. But all in all, if you've been in Modern, you know Energy. I won a SCGCon 5K earlier this year playing Seasoned Pyromancer. Or not just Seasoned Pyromancer, the entire Boros Energy list. Honestly, the list looked pretty similar to this. This list is almost stock. I was playing the Jeskai version, but it was just splashing for Consigned to Memory. It's played a single, I think, like, Hollowed Fountain for Steam Vents, and then played 4 Consigned to Memory in the graveyard. That's a story for another day, but yeah, deck is just Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, Ragavan for our very aggressive creatures, Galvanic Discharge, Static Prison, and Thraben Charm for removal. In our 2-drop slots, we've got Ajani, Voice of Victory, and Goblin Bombardment. Goblin Bombardment working really well with this deck, making tokens off of Voice of Victory, being a red permanent for Ajani, flipping Ajani very easily, and you can start going crazy with Ajani. The deck's now running 2 mainboard Blood Moon, now that 3-color decks are rising a bit more in the meta, and Amulet Titan is definitely one of the top decks in the meta, so going ahead and mainboarding against that. 3 Seasoned Pyromancer to get in when we're behind, and 4 Phlage to kind of close out the game. Mana base is what you would expect. Fetches, shocks, basics, a couple Elegant Parlors, and then we run 3 Arena of Glory to be able to haste out things like Phlage. The sideboard is pretty interesting. It's a lot of 1 and 2 ofs, except for Obsidian Charmaw, which we run 4 of to hate on more on the Eldrazi matchups. But we're playing 1 Meltdown for Affinity, Wear and Tear for Artifact and Enchantment decks, and also Affinity. Ghost Vacuum for the graveyard cards, Vexing Bauble for honestly a lot of different strategies right now. Just stops all the free spells. This deck, again, very fair, no free spells. Surgical Extraction to hit the graveyard decks, High Noon to hit Prowess, Stony Silence to hit Affinity, and then Wrath of the Skies for either things like the Mirror, other aggro matchups, or Affinity. Alright, that's it for the deck tech. Let's hop into some games. Quick transition before we launch into today's league. Cadets, I want this channel to be more than just my mission. I want it to be ours. So I'm opening the airlock and bringing all of you fine space travelers on board. You may have noticed some new warp speed transitions between matches, and here's where you come in. Over the next week, I want you to drop your favorite white magic cards down in the comment below. I'll be choosing some of them to feature in the Match 1 transition, complete with a shout out to the cadet who suggested it. Don't worry, the rest of the color pie will get their turn in orbit. We'll hit blue, black, red, and green in the coming weeks. And by the end, I want our transitions to be cosmically packed with your favorite cards shining across the galaxy. So share this transmission with other crews and friends. Let's get as many cards as possible into the constellation of our channel's art. Thanks for all the stellar support. Now buckle up and let's jump back into the league. Alright, we're here for match 1. Our hand's a little slow, but we'll keep. We've got Ajani plus Goblin Bombardment. Hard to say no to that. Opponent leads off on a tap Steam Vents and passes it to us. We get a Blood Moon. Very interesting. Don't need redundant Goblin Bombardments. Glad to have that out of the way. Oh, we see Plains from the opponent. And a Goblin Bombardment. Interesting, okay. Makes me feel like we're playing against some kind of mirror. Grab a plains here. No telling what could come at us next turn. I think we're just happy trying to play Voice of Victory and sacking the tokens next turn to try to kill off as many creatures as we can. So let's do that and pass it back to the opponent. Hopefully we don't see an Ajani from the opponent here. Trying to figure out what the blue's for. Maybe they're playing a version that's just splashing for Consign to Memory. Yeah, there's a Sacred Foundry. And there's a Phlage, okay. Yeah, so we take a damage. Got another Blood Moon. Ugh, okay. So we never made our third land drop. Just run out the Goblin Bombardment and say go. We're a bit behind our opponent here. Okay, opponent plays a Quantum Riddler. So maybe they're on some interesting version that uses like some kind of blink strategy. Wow, do we not like to see Quantum Riddler here? This is one of the cards that I feel like kind of made Energy a bad deck. So we're just continuing to miss land drops here, so we'll just play out a couple creatures and say go to the opponent. Opponent grabs Meticulous Archive. I imagine they'll put whatever they have into the graveyard, yeah. Seasoned Pyromancer is a pretty good one to go into the graveyard. Alright, they just about have enough to cast the Phlage from the graveyard. We can draw a land next turn, we can play a Blood Moon to prevent them from playing the Phlage. Okay, we see a Seasoned Pyromancer from our opponent. They're definitely going to have enough next turn. Oh, well, they have basic planes anyways. Oh, man, we are just so far behind this game. I don't think we can get back in. Alright, maybe we can try to do something cute here. And Ajani's probably just going to die here. For sure just going to die here. So here we have Ajani. And then what we're going to do is basically just sack our board to try to kill the Ajani here. So they point 1 damage at Ajani. Okay, they point another damage at him. So let's try to handle their Ajani by sacking our Ajani. And I guess before they can kill our token, let's go ahead and sack our Ragavan. Ragavan's going to be the easiest for them to kill. Oh, they just let it die. Okay. Yeah, still not a lot of action on our end, so we'll just pass it to the opponent. And here, more than likely, we'll just see them recast Phlage. Yep, here's the Phlage. See where they point that 3 damage. Guide a soul, so we'll kill their cat. We'll probably use their cat to kill our cat. And then we just gotta sack our cat and deal a damage to them. And again, we're kind of out of action. We don't have a lot going for us here. They've got a very established board, and we have 2 Blood Moons in hand that will do functionally nothing against them. And opponent just attacks for 6. Probably too late on the land drop. And we could use the Phlage to kill Seasoned Pyromancer and Ocelot Pride. And then they're swinging at us for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We'll go down swinging. Oh, you know what? No, they're just going to have game on us because we're not going to gain the life there. Yep, that's GG. All right, let's see what we've got in the sideboard. Here, I'm just going to bring in Ghost Vacuum and Wrath of the Skies and cut the 2 Blood Moon. I imagine they're going to be smart enough to play around the Blood Moon, and it's just going to end up being a dead card in our hand. So we'll take the play this time. Yeah, this is a fine hand to me. We'll keep. And as cool as it would be to lead off Ocelot Pride to get the double Ocelot Pride triggers next turn, I think I'm going to lead off Ragavan here. Hopefully we can get some cool stuff out of the opponent. Opponent just plays Marsh Flats and passes it back to us. Let's see, we'll attack here with the Ragavan. Oh, maybe we won't attack here with the Ragavan. Okay, they path to exile Ragavan. Sure, we'll take a basic. And then here, yeah, let's go for double Pride. Now that we know that they have path to exile, I'm less inclined to grab our other basic. And on to the opponent. Might just have to hope that they don't have Wrath of the Skies next turn, but we'll throw down Goblin Bombardment next turn, so it won't be too big of an issue. Okay, here we see a Solitude from the opponent. It's probably going to be Solitude Ephemerate. Yep, they get rid of both of our creatures. They keep a 3-2. Another thing is more Solitude in the format also makes this deck a bit worse. I was an energy player for the longest time, and I dropped the deck earlier this year because it just was not performing. We don't need more lands. I mean, here we'll just lay down the Goblin Bombardment. And we'll pass it to the opponent. Opponent fetches, surveils, land to graveyard. They attack with Solitude. We'll go ahead and Galv Blast. Let's see if they got another Ephemerate that they want to use on nothing. Nope. Alright. 2 damage there. I see Quantum Riddler. Do they have an Ephemerate to go with it? Nope. Okay. Man. Last game we couldn't find lands. This game we're finding too many of them. I think we need more action. We need a Seasoned Pyromancer, a Phlage, something better off top. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can start doing the Goblin Bombardment thing. Okay, no Galv Discharge from the opponent. And we'll shoot them. We've got the Ajani now. Hopefully they don't have Phlage next turn. Now, we could have played around Phlage by +2ing, but I think we've just got too slow of a game plan going right now. And we're just allowing them more time to find answers. They tap Steam Vents. They attempt to path to exile. Do we just want to allow them to get this land here? Like, we go ahead and take a land? Yeah, I'll let them path to exile that. Just get another deck out of our, or get another card out of our deck. Ooh, and that explains it. Seasoned Pyro here. What are they throwing to the grave? A Goblin Bombardment. Okay. Certainly not the end of the world. We just continue to find land, so let's zero the Ajani. Fill the token. And we have no reason to hold it. We'll just play the Flooded Strand and we'll get our last non-fetch land out of the deck. I think the opponent's exerting something here. Oh, maybe not. I think they tried to go for a Quantum Riddler, but then realized they don't have the correct mana to do it. And they can still cast Quantum Riddler. I just don't think they can give it haste here. Yeah, and it was a Quantum Riddler. Again, kind of a problem for us. So Ajani's being attacked by the Seasoned Pyromancer. Trying to think about what we can do to get out of this situation, because if we draw a creature next turn, we can get up to 3 damage here and then sack everything to kill the Quantum Riddler. Which isn't the best plan. I'll let the Ajani take 2 here. Because at least the Ajani is not dead. More lands. And yeah, we don't even have any fetchables left in deck, so let's just 0 here. Hit the Seasoned Pyro, and pass it to the opponent. Yeah, opponent's going to attack the Ajani with a Quantum Riddler. And nothing we can do about that. Okay, we see an Ajani from the opponent's side. And a Meticulous Archive. Alright, we really need a Seasoned Pyro. It fetches for an Elegant Parlor. Keeps on top. Guide of Souls. A Ragavan. Yeah, we'll just take it here. We don't want the Ajani to flip. Sorry, y'all can't tell because my VTuber rig paused for some reason, but yeah, I'm just leaning back in amazement here. I mean, is there any way for us to even live here? Not really. Alright. Rig's gone. We're raw dogging this. Okay. One attacks out here. We just gotta block the Ragavan. Doesn't really matter whether we block or ping it. A little late for a Galvanic Discharge. Yeah, they just swing overhead and get us next turn. Man, what a horrible match. We just couldn't find a land in the first one, and then we found... Goodness, I think we just drew nothing but lands the entire match, except for the Galvanic Discharge we just got. We've been to Thraben Charm. Yeah. Man, that was awful. Okay. I mean, let's get into the next one. GG, opponent. Alright, we're on the draw here. We keep a perfectly fine 7. We've got turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Ajani. We've got Static Prison, which we might have to use pretty quickly on that Ragavan. It's going to be coming back pretty quick, but by the time it comes back, it's not going to be all that relevant. Yeah, let's just... let's shock here. Get the Static Prison on the Ragavan. And on to the opponent. Flooded Strand fetch. Interesting that it looks like we're in another... another Jeskai matchup. And they have second Ragavan, so... yeah, nothing we can really do about that. Let's see what they get from us, though. Thraben Charms. They can't cast that this turn. Here, it's like... do we even pay for the Static Prison, knowing that they have another Ragavan? Yeah, we'll pay for it this time. Debating whether we... grab a basic Plains and put out the Ajani here. That way we can block the Ragavan if they don't have removal. Okay, here's the Quantum Riddler from the opponent. Yeah, same kind of matchup. I think it's just Jeskai Blink again. So the last one was playing like Goblin Bombardment plus Ajani and stuff, which isn't typical for the deck. Oh, there I think they were trying to find land drop. No, they got their consigned memory, which I think is kind of what they wanted there. Okay, you can have your Ragavan back. Maybe we just Phlage here? No, I don't want them to know that we have the Arena of Glory. Let's grab basic planes here and... Phlage. So hit the Ragavan, go back up to 16. They've got a Quantum Riddler that we can't attack through, so we'll just pass it back to them. And here, if they kill the Ajani, then what we can do is just haste in the Phlage next turn. Opponent did find their next land drop, Scalding Tarn for a Hollowed Fountain. Okay, it's the Fairy, so not exactly the kind of removal we were expecting. Yeah, they just get rid of the token, they get to hit us here. Oh, maybe they don't hit us. Now we can Static Prison the Quantum Riddler and then just go for the Teferi here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, let's Static Prison Quantum Riddler. Unless they have Force of Negation. No Force of Negation, okay. So we hit there. Let's dash the Ragavan. Move into attacks. You attack the Fairy, you attack the opponent. Okay, we get it to Fairy from them. We're just a mana off of casting that. So let's play down the Marsh Flats, and then we can grab an Elegant Parlor on instep, ditch whatever we get, and then haste the Phlage. Okay, Ragavan from the opponent. They'll get a free hit in. Let's see what they hit here. Hopefully just a land. A Ragavan, okay. Not really of our biggest concerns if they get a Ragavan. Okay, they have a Prismatic Ending for the Static Prison. But we're still, I think, mostly fine with that, because we get to haste the Phlage next turn, which can just kill the Quantum Riddler. Honestly, that's a fine draw. Oh, no, we were supposed to put it in graveyard. Nope, that's okay. I forgot. We're fetching anyways. Okay, chill. We're good. Okay, so it's passed back to us. We have the Arena of Glory. Let's go ahead and exert this bad boy. Cast the Phlage. Oh, actually, what we can do... We can also cast the Ragavan. So let's cast Ragavan using one of them. And we can cast Phlage using the rest of the mana. And we'll deal 3 to the Quantum Riddler. Ah. The opponent has a Solitude. That's going to get rid of our Phlage here. Okay, what we can do is we can go ahead and Galv Discharge this. Deal another 3 to it. And then we at least get to attack with the Ragavan and the Ajani here. Okay, we just see an Arena of Glory from the opponent. Next turn we can refill our hand with Seasoned Pyromancer at the very least. Opponent just grabs Elegant Parlor, put the Ragavan in grave. Lots of Ragavans this match it. Okay, dashed Ragavan from the opponent. Let's see what they hit. Hopefully nothing too crazy from us. Okay, they hit a Thraben Charm, so I guess they could remove one of our creatures if they wanted to. Okay, Quantum Riddler from the opponent. They draw. Oh, they actually get to draw 2 cards there with the Quantum Riddler. And they Thraben Charm the Ragavan. That goes back to hand. That warps away. Okay, we draw Phlage, which we do just get to discard here. So red, red, white. Discard the Phlage. We draw 2 more lands. Okay. I mean, that's actually not the worst, because if we fetch for an Elegant Parlor, put in grave, we'll have 2 more cards in graveyard, so we get to haste the Phlage next turn. So we'll just attack for 1 here, pass it to the opponent. The opponent just fetches, plays Quantum Riddler here. Let's draw a single card. They're up to 5 cards in hand. Cast to Ragavan. Okay, let's grab the Elegant Parlor. Do we want to keep an Ajani? 1, 2, 3. Because we get to fetch with the Arid Mesa next turn. Well, let's keep the Ajani on top. Make something more interesting happen. So, doesn't really matter to haste this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have enough mana to cast everything anyway, so we'll just grab the Sacred Foundry tap. Go ahead and haste the Phlage. Now the rest of our graveyard. I'll try to hit the Quantum Riddler here. And let's cast the Ajani. Doesn't matter really which Ajani we keep. Oh, opponent's got response. Okay, they have Galvanic Discharge for the Ajani. So that wasn't exactly ideal for us there. Yeah, we basically just traded our Ajani for a 2-1. Let's go ahead and get in on the attacks. Don't tell me opponent has a Solitude too. They do. God. This deck is so bad now. It used to be the menace of Modern. And now it just gets eaten by Jeskai control, which is just the better mid-range strategy. Wow, we went from being in a very good position to an incredibly bad position. And opponent gets to draw 2 cards and upkeep. Oh, fuck, I was supposed to block. Hopefully nothing good. Yeah, just an Arid Mesa. Gets it out of the way, I guess. And a Phlage from the opponent, which they immediately get to recast. Yeah, opponent's stabilized now. And now we're in the rough position. Ragavan isn't what's getting us back in here. I mean, we basically need Ragavan off top. Or not Ragavan, Phlage. I mean, we have an out. I think I'm forced to cast this Ragavan. Oh, correction. Phlage off top doesn't even do it for us because we don't have enough creatures in graveyard. Nah, I think we're done for this game. Go ahead and concede it there, get into the sideboard. Here, I think we just bring in a Ghost Vacuum and cut a Galvanic Discharge and say go. This hand is okay. Lots of good top decks we could get at least. This is kind of the hand you want closer toward the mid-game. Okay, we'll just play out the Plains Guide of Souls here. Pass it to the opponent. Opponent just plays a Meticulous Archive. And prevails a Land of Grave. Here we get a Voice of Victory. Let's go ahead and shock in the Sacred Foundry, cast the Voice of Victory. We'll attack for 1. And on to the opponent. Opponent fetches for a Plains. Oh, and then they cast a Dress Down in their instep. So all of our stuff is going to lose abilities for the next turn. I think that means we get to keep the Phlage, right? Does it? Let's find out. Yeah, we'll show it soon. Oh my god, we do get to keep the Phlage. Okay. I mean, we will take that. Alright, it's been a while since I've seen that interaction. I was like pretty sure we kept the Phlage, but I wasn't 100%. Oh, and opponent concedes it there. Okay. Oh yeah, we'll just run it back again. This hand is kind of bad, but kind of keepable. We need more lands, obviously, but the rest of the hand is just gas. Or if we do find that second land within our first few turns, we're probably chilling. Alright. A lot of things die to this... This Ragavan dies to a lot of things, but let's see if we can get it to stick. Onto the opponent. And grab Meticulous Archive. Ephemerate to Graveyard. Yeah, there's the prismatic ending. So we'll play Elegant Parlor here. Anything but... like a land and we put it in Graveyard. Yeah, as good as you would be Ajani. Into the Graveyard you go. We're looking for lands. That way we can get to our Phlages and Seasoned Pyromancers and whatnot. And a Reign of Glory from the opponent. I'm guessing our... oh, it's Fable. Okay. Not the biggest issue here. We'll just Galv Blast this. Or sorry, Galv Discharge. Been playing too much Affinity. Then we'll attack with our Ocelot Pride. Okay, opponent brings in a Solitude. So we'll just play out our other Pride and say go. Oh, and we did gain life because of the Solitude, so we did still get the token. It's going to be a while before we get to City's Blessing. Opponent discards a Felly and draws one. Arid Mesa for a Plains. Oh, they're hasting something in here. Oh, they're going to consign to memory the sacrifice trigger here. That's pretty bad for us. We probably just lost. Yeah, Boros Energy just doesn't have these kinds of plays. Now, we've got to try to find answer to the Phlage here. So, I think we just go Seasoned Pyromancer. Discard the double Phlage. Get a couple tokens at least. And we can cast the Phlage from Graveyard next turn if we want. Opponent attacks, kills the Seasoned Pyromancer. We'll block with an Elemental token. Absorb up what damage we can while we can. Yeah, let's just see if we can get the Phlage out here. Do what we can to conserve our life total. Red, red, white, white. And let's hit the Reflection of Kiki Jiki here. And might as well attack with the Elemental token. It's only got one card left in hand. Oh, and it's a Felia. Okay. That kind of sucks for us, because they get to blink the Phlage here. And then it's just going to go straight into the graveyard again. Opponent plays land. Yeah, they go for the attack. They're going to blink the Phlage. And kill the Elemental token. So they're going to get in on us for 8 here. Go to 5, but then whenever the Phlage returns, we'll go back up to 8. We at least get to take the Felia here. One, two, three. So we could get a Phlage out again, but it would involve us using Galvanic Discharge hitting nothing. We would fetch for any land. Galvanic Discharge to get another card in graveyard. If we didn't draw Elegant Parlor, we could have fetched for Elegant Parlor and then put a card in the graveyard. But because we drew the Elegant Parlor, we can't just recast Phlage here. One has no cards in hand. They've only got the Phlage. I think we just kind of have to be like, hey, we can't kill the Phlage this turn, but we got to do something. So let's fetch, and we've got a shock too. Gal blast this. Using none. Now we can cast the Phlage from graveyard. Doesn't mean we also have to exile our Seasoned Pyromancer from grave, so we're not going to get the tokens there either. Oh, you know what? I'm a little slow. I should have actually dealt the damage to the Phlage. I forgot about the Phlage ETB. That is 1,000,000% on me. Nope. I forgot. Yes, we weren't supposed to kill the Phlage, because next turn they could just haste it and kill our Phlage. Play Surveil, card into the graveyard. And now we're kind of just at an impasse. I think they have the advantage by attacking with the Phlage, because if I'd be forced to Phlage trade, and they just get to recast their Phlage from graveyard, then I'm having to find, like, Static Prison off top. Because we really need to exile it, because even if we hit it with a Galvanic Discharge, they have enough in graveyard to just be able to recast it again after that. Yeah, and I think opponent sees that line. It's taking it a little slow for some reason. There we go. So we're forced to take the block. And then they get to recast the Phlage from graveyard now. We'll be going down to 2. And then again, we basically just have to find Static Prison off top right now. Or like Seasoned Pyromancer plus a bunch of other stuff. Ghost Vacuum's a little late. Yeah, we have no answers. That's just going to be the match there. GG, opponent. Alright, we're back. Arena of Glory being our only land. That's a mulligan. Yeah, we'll take this. The question is, do we... I have faith that we'll find another land. That might be wrong considering our track record so far. Oh, and we're playing against Domain. That's no bueno. Right, we'll grab the Goddess Souls, pass to the opponent. They also got to keep their 7 here. Play an Arena of Glory tapped, which is interesting. Play our Arena of Glory. We'll go ahead and play out our Ajani. We did find the Thraben Charm, so if they have the Scion here, we do just get to get rid of the Leyline of the Guild Pact here. Oh, I guess opponent just couldn't find their second land and conceded it pretty early. Alright, let's get into the sideboarding. Alright, we're going to take out 2 Voice of Victories and a Ragavan to bring in 2 Wear and Tear and a Ghost Vacuum. We wouldn't have a Plains, but we would have a potential for a turn 2 Blood Moon against the Domain deck. A little rough, but we'll keep it. We've also got the Wear and Tear for if they do have their Domain Scion plan, which they didn't. Okay, let's just shock in the Sacred Foundry, put in the Ragavan. Opponent grabs their Indantha Triome. There's the Steam Vents. And a Kavu. So we don't have a way to get around the Kavu right now. Yeah, we'll keep that on top. Get our Plains, play the Blood Moon, shrink the Kavu. Okay, just a Godless Shrine from the opponent. Oh, no attack from the opponent. Okay. Works for us. So let's see about trying to go for this Blood Moon here. They have Stubborn Denial, they have Stubborn Denial. Okay, looks like they probably have the Wear and Tear. Okay. Okie dokie. Yeah, so we just pass it back to the opponent. Ooh, and we're seeing Arena of Glory from the opponent. There's a Scion of Dracos. This now has First Strike and Trample. We do have a Wear that can deal with the Scion. They attack and discard. Okay, let's see if we can wear this bad boy. WD? Yeah. Alright, we'll just play out the God of Souls and hope for the best here then. Ooh, and there's the Wrath of Skies for X equals 1. Opponent draws and discards. We're down to 3 here. We have a Static Prison to deal with the Territorial Kavu. We can play the Seasoned Pyromancer to discard the Phlage to be able to cast next turn. Yeah, I think those are the kinds of plays we're going for here. So let's Static Prison. Oh no, we have to deal with the Scion right now or gain some life. Yeah, let's take the Kavu. I think we have to gain life with the Phlage right now. So it's going to have to put itself in the graveyard for now. And then if they don't have graveyard removal, we might be able to help ourselves stabilize. I mean, if they have a creature in hand, they probably just get to haste it and kill us anyways. So on to the opponent. Let's see what they've got. Okay, they mill a Wrath of the Skies, which is interesting. Maybe they're just looking for the immediate kill here. Because again, Phlage, any creature, Lightning Bolt, they have ways to hit us here. And it looks like they're exerting. Maybe not? Or are they just trying to tap correctly? Let's see. Okay. It's a Teferi from the opponent. They can return the Static Prison. That's not the end of the world for us. So we might still just be in it. Play the Elegant Parlor, why not? No more lands needed. Get up Phlage here. And then we can hit one of them twice. So they won't be able to hit back hard enough with Kavu next turn. Let's just take the Liar for now. You know what? Go ahead and Kavu here too. Sure, let's get rid of Teferi. Take the Scion. I didn't think the opponent could pull it back. I would have just went full face there to get him down to 1. But these domain decks seem to have quite the things. Yeah, so like here they have the Wrath. Which us static prisoning their creature actually saved it for them, which is wild. Yeah, we'll run out Bombardment plus Seasoned Pyromancer here. They'll be able to hit our Phlage from graveyard with the Kavu. Okay, fresh hand. We've got a Galvanic Discharge, which can deal with the Kavu next turn. Passes it to us. We just draw another land. So what we can do is we can attack here with the Ocelot Pride. The token that it makes can be used to block the Territorial Kavu. Unless they have Lightning Bolt. Yeah, the difference between 1 and 2 force in this matchup is nothing. So we'll just play the Windswept Heath. Honorable attack. Take Ocelot Pride from grave. See, and they had the Lightning Bolt. Okay. Yeah, and I think we probably just run it back, right? Yeah, Thraben Charm's too important. Yeah, I think we just run it back. Okay, we're on the play. We have the Wear and Tear in case they have the Scion combo. We'll keep it. Okay, there's the ley line. So let's go ahead and fetch shock, play the God of Souls. Actually, do we need to shock? Good shock. I think the first shock's not a problem. Opponent just plays land go. During this turn, we could go for the Elegant Parlor. We still get to hold up either Galvanic Discharge or Wear and Tear, depending on what the problem is. Opponent just fetches and surveils. Looks like nothing serious from the opponent, so we'll grab our Elegant Parlor. We'll put it into the graveyard for now. We want to go ahead and set up for this Phlage as much as possible. And just in case the opponent has the Stubborn Denial, I'll hold off on hitting this. Okay, there's a Ragavan. Ragavan's cool. Lanes. Dash Ragavan? Ragavan's really good when they got a cleared board, but really bad when they don't. Okay. Bit rude, isn't it? Alright, attack with the God of Souls. And then if they go to fetch or anything at any point, then we can go for the Wear and Tear. Okay. Yep, let's tear here while we can. Well, our graveyard's ready for our Phlage now. Now they grab the basic plains. We probably could have waited for them to grab a Surveil land. It looks like it's not going to matter anyways. Ooh. Hello, second Guide of Souls. We'll lay down the guide. Dress down. Doorkeeper Thrall. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and take this Doorkeeper Thrall. We don't get to Phlage this turn. Oh, we actually probably wanted to Phlage this turn because they had the Doorkeeper Thrall out. Bad play for me. Bad play. Let's see if it ends up mattering. Sorry, I just had like really short sight on that one, guys. We hit for 3, down to 13. Opponent grabs Godless Shrine tap. They've got everything except the green. The opponent's likely going for a Teferi here, maybe? Okay, here we see a Phlage from the opponent. It's our one Goddess Souls. Okay, and they do make land drop here. So now we get to kind of play Phlage Chicken. Because whoever plays their Goddess Souls first, the other one dies. Let's include our Phlage into this. The opponent, there. We do have a clock on our opponent, though. As long as they don't find an Arena of Glory, we might be in a pretty okay spot. Okay, opponent does get their Phlage back, so we just get to haste Phlage next turn, kill their Phlage. Puts us into a pretty okay spot. Or we could just Static Prism. Do we have game this turn? We do. Let's just go for that then. Haste this. Use this. Do that. Bing, bop, bam, boom, bing. We deal the 3 damage to them. This plan is actually hinging on them not having Force of Negation, though, which they don't. Most lists aren't running that. And then we just get to attack, and opponent concedes it there. GG, opponent. That was a pretty okay hand. We've got lands, we've got other stuff. We'll keep. Opponent keeps their 7 as well. Let's lead off on a Guide of Souls here. Throw a Galvanic Discharge. Yeah. Just do this. It plays around the idea that opponent plays a turn 1 creature that we want to Galv charge, but we also get to play the Guide of Souls. Okay. Didn't matter. Ooh, that matters a lot, though. Boy, oh boy, I wish I had more white mana. Let's attack first. See if opponent's going to hit our God of Souls. Okay, nothing on the God of Souls. We'll Elegant Parlor. Not a bad card, honestly. Don't know what we're playing against, though. We'll keep it on top. Pretty cool. And we'll play the Ocelot Pride past the opponent, see what they got. Okay, they're going to Flooded Strand here, fetching for a Steam Vents and probably hitting the God of Souls. No, it just comes in tapped. Interesting. That probably means it's Prowess, and if it's Prowess, then we're actually in a pretty good position. Yep, there's Mountain DRC. Yep, so we're probably sitting pretty this match. This is probably one of Boros Energy's most favorited matches. The Force of Negation is peculiar, though. So now I'm beginning to wonder if it's a Murktide matchup. So they have 2 types in graveyard already. The Mishra's Bauble and make it 3. If they have a spell, it does pump the DRC. Or we could just get rid of a creature now, save the Thraben Charm. Yeah, let's just see about going ahead and hitting the DRC. And then need the Guide of Souls yet, so let's go ahead and get in on the attacks. We will pump the... Weirdly enough, in case they have removal, I think just throw it on the cat here. So I think the cat's what they at least want to kill if they have like Lightning Volt or Galvanic Discharge or anything. Doesn't look like the opponent has anything, so we'll play out another Guide of Souls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We don't quite get there. Okay, well, opponent concedes it there. Let's see what we've got in the sideboard. You know, we're going to pretend that it's Prowess, because I feel like, is it Murktide? Would have went for a Surveil land. And so maybe this is just a weird version of Prowess. Let's find out. Alright, here I think we got 2 Blood Moon and 2 Seasoned Pyromancer because they're too slow, and we're going to bring in the High Noon, a Ghost Vacuum, and 2 Vexing Baubles, which on their end hits Mishra's Bauble and, more importantly, Mutagenic Growth. Also hits Lava Dart recast from the graveyard, so Vexing Bauble actually does a good bit against Prowess. If it's Prowess, we're going to assume it's Prowess. I think this is a reasonable keep. We'll keep it. Okay, Spire Bluff Canal almost confirms it for me. Which means we are going to have to go for the turn 1 Vexing Bauble here. The reason we want to go ahead and go for the Vexing Bauble is in the event that they have Quarry Steelcutter plus a 0-drop like Mishra's Bauble, so this just plays around that line of play. Okay, there's the Quarry Steelcutter, so I feel validated. Okay, so we could either go ahead and play out the Goblin Bombardment, or we could... Let's haste the Ragavan. Let's see what we get there. Or I guess dash the Ragavan. They're going to have a little bit of a slower kill with the Vexing Bauble out. Okay, we get a Preordain. We'll cast Preordain. We'll put this on bottom, this on top. And yeah, we're kind of sitting pretty. Back to the opponent. Also, next turn, we probably just go for Phlage and kill one of their tokens. Okay, opponent just attacks for 2 there. Go ahead and just grab a Plains and we'll cast the Phlage. Will stabilize us on life too. Let's see if they want to cast 2 spells to save the monk token. Nope. Okay. So we're at 15 against the Prowess deck. And they go for Seek the Beast. Interesting. What do they get there? 2 lands, so they're going to make their land drop next turn. That's fine. And this is only until their next end step. And they cast the Flooded Strand. My question here is if they try to go for the Questing Druid or not. So that land's as good as gone. Grab Breeding Pool tapped. Will Elegant Parlor here. Yeah, we don't need that many Ragavans. I was gonna seem kind of crazy. Maybe we just take it slow for a turn. Let's just cast the Goblin Bombardment. Oh. Aether Gust. Choose target spell or permanent that's red or green. Its owner puts it on their choice at the top or bottom of their library. Okay, we'll put it on top to set up for the Ajani next turn, and we'll just hard cast a Ragavan, so that way we stop paying too much mana into it. And then next turn, I think we get to go particularly hard. Opponent finds land number 4. So here they might be able to Quarry Steelcutter and Questing Druid. There's the Questing Druid. They'll cast something else here. Hopefully not a Murktide. It was a Murktide. Okay. So now I gotta figure out what I can do about the Murktide during our turn. It's only a 5/5. I'll take that. So we've got 4 mana. Let me try to calculate here. So we could go for Ajani. Okay, just no Goblin Bombardment. Let's just go for Ajani here while they're tapped out. And then we get to Thraben Charm the Murktide. We get to deal 6 damage to the Murktide. And then we just pass it to the opponent again. Actually, do we want to go ahead and get rid of their Questing Druid? We have another Ragavan in hand. Let's go ahead and attack with the Ragavan. Oh, and they let us attack them with the Ragavan. If we wanted to, we could sack the Vexing Bauble, draw a card, cast the Mishra's Bauble. We put another card into their graveyard, but we get to draw a card. We get to draw 2 cards, actually. I do like the prospect of drawing cards, and it gets us enough cards in graveyard for Phlage next turn. We're going to assume the opponent doesn't have the kill on us. Let's sack Vexing Bauble. Cast the Mishra's Bauble. Go ahead and bobble them. They're just getting land next turn. Alright, we might be okay here. Man, do we have 5 mana worth of stuff? Ooh, Pyroclasm. And all of their stuff is going to get to live. Okay, that's actually rather rough for us. Doesn't matter what we choose there. Okay, they get to attack for 6. Okay. I was worried about mutagenic growth there. Okay, so here... I think we just try to haste the Phlage. And because of how things work, we can also get that in. Yeah, so let's go for lanes here. Exert the Arena of Glory. Cast the Phlage. Ooh, does the opponent have a counterspell for it? Just straight counterspell, okay. Rough. Okay, well, we still get to haste the Ragavan here. It's going to hit the opponent. We can cast the Galvanic Discharge to try to deal with the Monk token. Unless we get something good from the opponent. Yeah, Murktide's not going to do it for us. And then the question is whether we try to go for it now or during their turn. I think we go for it now. If they have spell, they have spell. Okay. You hit it. So they can equip, and if they have any spell, really, then they still win it. I just gotta say, we were not prepared for Phlage, or sorry, Pyroclasm plus Counterspell. Okay, they get us down to 1. That is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the Ragavan. I'll have removal here. Imagine them having... Okay. We find Expressive Iteration. As good as Expressive Iteration is in a position like this, I think I just kind of want to lay down my hand. So let's start by protecting what we can do. Going for the Voice of Victory. Okay, opponent has a Spell Snare. Does create a little bit of a problem for us. Let's try to go for the Goblin Bombardment. This is like a interesting Murktide variant. Okay, and then we'll try to go for the Ajani. Do they have another counterspell? Yeah, that's it there. I mean, opponent controlled us out. Okay, interesting. What changes here? Maybe we're forced to bring that in. Knowing that they're 3 colors now kind of makes me want to bring the Blood Moon back in. The Wear and Tear is still only hitting the 1 card, so I'm not like super thrilled about trying to Wear and Tear them. Now that I know it's more control-y, I also kind of want to bring back in the Seasoned Pyromancers. Might not even be on mutagenic growth. Maybe we cut the Vexing Baubles. Do we keep the High Noon in? I think we still keep the High Noon in. All of those are... The Voice of Victories are going to be even more important now than I originally thought they were going to be, now that we know that they're on a lot of counter magic. Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot. Just run it back, mostly as is. Yeah, so we just bring in Ghost, Vacuum, and High Noon, cutting the 2 Blood Moons. Okay, let's try that. So we're on the play, we'll keep. We got a little bit of removal in hand. We've got Ocelot Pride. Got some things going for us here. I do think we kind of need to lead off on a shock. On to the opponent. Alright, opponent goes ahead and shocks in the Steam Vents. They probably got... Oh no, it's just a DRC. Okay, we can handle a DRC. So we can... And let's just see if they forget this as first strike first. We'll attack with the Ocelot Pride. We'll go ahead and just try to remove creature number 1. And then we can grab an Elegant Parlor. Oh, I think opponent missed second land drop. That's rough for them. So we'll fetch here, grab the Elegant Parlor. We'll take a second Ocelot Pride. They go to Plains. We'll go ahead and attack them for 2. Run out another Ocelot Pride. Run out Ajani. And pass it to the opponent. If I believe correctly, I think we should get the City's Blessing here. Yep. Okay, so we've got a huge board. I mean, if they have land plus Pyroclasm here, we might be dead. Oh, do they have it? Do they have it? Oh. Oh, man. Yeah, that's how it goes. Yeah, that's just something about energy, too, is it's just so weak to, like, board wipes and such. Maybe we shouldn't have fetched yet. We should have held off just in case they have Ragavan. No, we already have an answer for Murktide. Just pass it back to the opponent. We're just trying to find, basically, Phlage here. And opponent's hand is packed. They must just have interaction here. And we could hold on to the Voice of Victory for a turn. See about trying to play around Counterspell. Yeah, let's just try to play around Counterspell here. So if we draw another creature next turn, we can try to go for both. Okay, opponent just questing Druids. What do they find here? They find Expressive Iteration and Quirion Dryad. When was the last time y'all saw Quirion Dryad in Modern? Okay, they find Spire Bluff Canal. They're kind of forced into casting one of these this turn if they want their value out of their Questing Druid. Oh, but they're not going to. Okay. Makes me feel all the more likely that they have some kind of counter spell. Alright, we need more than one land here would be ideal. So these cards aren't relevant anymore. Or sorry, we don't need more than one land. We've got more than enough lands. We need more creatures. Okay, what did they hit this time? Lands. Okay, so they're going to make land drop number 4. Okay, Quarry Steelcutter. So it looks like they're tapping out now. Oh, or just casting a Quarry Steelcutter. They've 100% got a counter spell here. Thraben Charm. I'm going to be doing the world's most work here. It's Static Prison, the Quarry Steelcutter, just to make sure that they don't get anything out of it. But if they're having a double spell next turn, it means that we can get our stuff down the following turn. Opponent casts one of their Questing Druids here. Alright, I guess there's no time like the present. Let's try to slam a Goblin Bombardment. And did we just hold off again? I just feel like they're so obviously holding up Counterspell here. There's no point in running our Voice of Victory into a Counterspell. We could maybe Static Prison here, try to take the Questing Druid or the Quarry Steelcutter to try to bait it again. But if we can slam this Voice of Victory one turn, then the Counterspells become irrelevant. Alright, let's just try to play out what we can to try to make them use up their Counterspell. Okay, what's more problematic for us? Quarry Steelcutter or Questing Druid? Questing Druid gets big fast. Again, we still want them to double spell during their turn to use up their mana, so that way they can't counterspell us. If opponent doesn't have counterspell here, this is the best bluff of the century. You need to watch out for a Murktide here, unfortunately, too. Here's the Questing Druid. I mean, they've got enough mana at this point that double spelling shouldn't be an issue. They've got 6 cards in hand. Yeah, they pay for it. Yeah, more lands. Lands. We get it. Expressive Iteration, maybe? Another Quarry Steelcutter. Yeah, the opponent might just get too far ahead of us, just being able to hold up the interaction here. The Pyroclasm really messed us up. Yeah, you could say we overplayed into it, but it was either we try to go fast and get around their aggro plan, or just try to do whatever else we can. The opponent gets the Expressive Iteration here. Exile a Scalding Tarn. They're still able to hold up Counterspell. This is insane. Alright, so they get to attack us for 9. We need to make some kind of action happen here. We can't sit around and twiddle our thumbs anymore. We just keep drawing lands. Like, this deck only plays a little over 20 lands. Honestly, we probably should have just pasted this. Do they have Counterspell? If they have Counterspell, I'll just give it to them. They're going to be able to attack for what should be enough next turn. Okay. Yeah, we couldn't help it. We just drew lands the entire game. Into the next match. We're back for our final match in the league. We'll keep our 7 here. So let's just fetch shock, play the Ragavan. Say go to the opponent. It goes for Underground Mortuary. And a Generosent in the graveyard. Trying to figure out what's going on there. Let's attack the opponent. Maybe we can get some more information. Hopefully it's not Living End. That sure makes me feel like it's Living End. Can we cast this for its impending? Can, okay. Well, let's do that. We'll grab back Ocelot Pride here. And then I guess let's go ahead and just lay out Ocelot Pride. And on to the opponent. Yeah, and Living End has never been a great matchup for this. It just feels like the meta is really geared toward just beating energy. It's just that energy is weaker than it's ever been. Yeah, so from the graveyard we see a bunch of stuff that basically validates that this is probably Living End. What do they grab back? Turns Steam Core Scholar. So we'd kind of be playing into anything that they do here. Let's Elegant Parlor, maybe try to put a creature into the grave. Attack the opponent. Maybe we can get something else nice off the Ragavan. Shardless Agent. Yeah, not a lot of point in casting anything unless we're trying to like just play into double. Yeah, no, we'll just say go. Yeah, they're gonna fetch. Cycle Street Wraith. Do they have the Shardless Agent? No, they just pass it to us. Okay. So let's attack all here. What does the opponent have? Endurance. Yeah, nothing we can really do about an Endurance. Oh, our graveyard. No, we tried to set up our graveyard for when they went for it, but Endurance does stop that pretty hard. Ugh. Okay. So the question here is, do they block Ocelot Pride or Ragavan? They hit the Ragavan. Okay, here, let's try to get a creature into the graveyard. We'll just Phlage the opponent. And then depending on... No, we won't. Oh man, these decks. I mean... what do we even do here? I guess we keep it on top. Opponent's at like a low enough life total that maybe we can just try to like get them in that respect. Alright, let's see if the opponent has it here. At this point, they can really just start hard casting the creatures and they'll be bigger than anything we can put out. Okay, they cast the Steam Core Scholar. Not the biggest issue for us. Need to be draw 2, discard 2. Just got Flying and Vigilance. And they fetch for a hedge maze. That's a Generous Scent in graveyard. Honestly, I think we might be sitting pretty now. We can get through at least 2... We can get through a damage on the next turn. And then Phlage should just be lethal. We want to get through 2. If we attack out, we get them down. Yeah, now if they try to go for it... Well, I don't know. Let's see if they've got more interaction. Nope, they don't. So at this point, we have a Phlage in the graveyard. They don't want a Living End, because if they Living End, they're going to die. So let's attack all here. The only reason we're even able to do this is because they fetched last turn, so they get to block 2 of our things. Oh, they're just going hard onto the Ocelot Pride. That's fine with us. Now they're down to 2. Got a Ragavan, Phlage, and Ocelot Pride in the graveyard. Obviously their board would be bigger than ours, but the Phlage just gets to ETB kill them. Look, the opponent's just attacking us with the Steam Core Scholar and passing it back to us. Let's see if they want to try to play through another Phlage. If they have Subtlety, we just put it back on top. Oh, Flare of Denial. Wow, I've not seen Flare of Denial in a while. What we can do is we can just go for Static Prison here. They could have just cast the Static Prison, or cast the Flare of Denial. Makes me think that they might have more things in hand. And take the Endurance. And then if they don't have anything to flash in, we should just be able to attack them with the cats. Oh, I really hope this isn't another Endurance. It is. Ugh. Oh, man. I mean, these decks, they have all the answers. And it's not even shuffled in. It goes to the bottom, so the number of Phlages we have to draw off top is pretty minuscule. And now that the Overlord's become a creature, this is going to be like the ideal time for them to try to go for their Living In plan. Let's see if they got it. Yeah, there's Halo Forger, which does get to cast the Living In from graveyard. Remember when Halo Forger first came out, it was used to play against this deck, because they would go for Living End. And whether you had Halo Forger in hand or in graveyard, you just got to Living End again and put everything back how it was. Yeah, the opponent's got an absolutely huge board. If we don't find something to kill them, we're dead. Which, even then, now they get the token off of the Generous Scent. Or multiple food tokens off the Generous Scent. Yeah, opponent's just got a ton of triggers here. Okay, well, we get one turn to figure out what to do with our lives. And what we're going to do is just concede. Alright, let's see what they got for them. So, High Noon's pretty good here. Ghost Vacuum, Vexing Bauble, Surgical Extraction. Stony Silence doesn't really do anything. Wrath, Obsidian, Meltdown, Wear and Tear. Yeah, none of those are that important. Blood Moon's pretty decent against them. We're really just trying to be very aggressive. The Galvanic Discharges do very little in this matchup. Same with the Static Prisons. Yeah, I guess we'll just cut the removal and bring in the Living End Hate. We're on the play. We've got a 1-lander, but it's a 1-lander with Vexing Bauble, which I think makes it worth keeping. The opponent would need Force of Vigor, Force Negation. They actually have several answers to it, so maybe we shouldn't be as all in on it as we want to be, but let's just cast out the God of Souls. Say go. We don't need to run out the Vexing Bauble quite yet. Okay, opponent just plays an Underground Mortuary. It's a Steam Core Scholar into the graveyard. Land. Land. Yeah, I guess let's just try to apply a little bit of pressure. We'll go for the Vexing Bauble next turn. And the Goblin Bombardment is especially good to play next turn as well if we can, because we can just sack our board in response to a Living End if they have it. Again, this plan is particularly weak into Force of Vigor, though. Looks like opponent's just playing land, saying go. Okay, we do find another land. Let's grab a Plains. Let's figure out what's more damage here. So if we Goblin Bombardment, make a token, this gets pumped by 2, and we could have just attacked for 3. So yeah, we'll attack first. Oh, and you know what? Vexing Bauble isn't weak to Force of Vigor, but it is still weak to Force Negation. So let's try to go for the Vexing Bauble. Hope that they don't have the Force Negation. We do also have Thraben Charm to just exile their graveyard as well. Okay, there's the Vexing Bauble. Let's go for the Goblin Bombardment plan. Hopefully we should be sitting pretty for this match. What do they have here? Okay, Dismember for the Ajani. That's fine. And then we'll just pass it to the opponent. Opponent's already at 10. Cycle a Generous Hint. Grabs Basic Forest. They're playing around the Blood Moon. And I can't go for the Living End here because of the Vexing Bauble. Okay, they just go for a Steam Core Scholar. Draw 2, discard 2, unless they discard an instant or sorcery. Or a creature with flying. They do discard a Living End. Yeah, pretty bad in their hand, I suppose. So let's Elegant Parlor. As good as it is on top, we just put it into the graveyard to have more creatures in graveyard. Let's put it into the graveyard. Let's actually haste out the Seasoned Pyromancer here. Pretty bad if they have Subtlety. Okay. Actually, no, I forget. It gets countered. Let's go. Man, Vexing Bauble, what a card. Does suck to throw away the Thraben Charm. I think we're just able to get through enough damage here that we just get to tell the opponent, like, no, we're not too interested in what you have going on. We're just going to do our own thing here. So attack all. We'll put the counters on the God of Souls. If they want to block and kill one of these, they can. Okay, so here they take 5. We're 1 short of actually being able to kill them with Goblin Bombardment, so we will just take the Steam Core Scholar here. And onto the opponent. Opponent displays tapped Overgrown Tomb, passes it back to us. Trying to figure out what they got to stay alive here. Just dash out the Ragavan. Okay, opponent concedes it there. And then I think we just run it back. Alright, well, we're back. We're going to keep our 7. We're going to lead off on Ghost Vacuum here. As much as Double Guide of Souls can go off. If we can just eat cards fast enough from our opponent, could save us a pretty bad amount of damage here. Let's see. Ugh. It's so tempting to go for Guide of Souls next turn. Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride. It's so fast. But because it's Living End, we'll play it smart. Go for the Ghost Vacuum. Pass it to them. And now on each of their end steps, we get to eat a card from Graveyard. So here, let's go ahead and take Street Wraith. Ooh, Vexing Bauble. That changes things a bit here. Let's go Vexing Bauble. Guide of Souls. Say, go to the opponent. So here I think we just have, should hopefully be a sufficient amount of hate against them, because now they're going to have to try to find an answer to the Vexing Bauble. Their best course of action here is probably just to play a fair mid-range plan, but with us having Guide of Souls, Ocelot Pride, and Goblin Bombardment in hand, that's going to be pretty difficult for them. Shocking a Watery Grave here. Okay, we see Foundation Breaker from the opponent, so there goes our Vexing Bauble. Oh no, they're going for the Ghost Vacuum. Okay, I think they kind of misstacked it a little bit. So here we'll just take the Foundation Breaker. Okay, interesting that they didn't take the Vexing Bauble. Maybe they've got something for that, but let's go ahead and Guide of Souls. Ocelot Pride. Go ahead and attack in for 3. End step, gain more life, make a token on the opponent now. I'm not 100% sure why they shocked in the Watery Grave last turn if they just left the Undercity Sewers up. Maybe there was something there that I missed. There's a Steam Core Scholar. Opponent discards Ashiok, Dreamrender, and Shardless Agent here. Yeah, so now I think they're going for the fair mid-range plan. Goblin Bombardment doesn't do us a ton here. Maybe we just Thraben Charm this. I was hoping to save the Thraben Charm, but I think we can just probably out-aggro them before they can find answers. So, deal damage to twice the number of creatures. So, 8 damage to the Scholar. And then we'll get in on the attacks here. Fortunately that we couldn't play a creature this turn. Yeah, we just attack for a ton. Opponent's down to 6. Tokens, life, all the opponent now. So they in the same turn have to deal with Vexing Bauble and then try to go for the Living End. Okay, they Shardless Agent for Living End. And it's just going to get countered into the Vexing Bauble. The opponent cast a 3-mana 2/2. We're fine with. Yeah, an opponent concedes it there. Alright, that's the end of the league. I'll be back in a moment for the wrap-up. And we're we're back with the wrap up. 2 and 3. Really not the performance we want to see out of any of our decks. I think that's probably the lowest win rate we've had on the channel so far. Yeah, so we found out Boros Energy, not the menace it once was in the format. Y'all saw very early on the Quantum Riddlers were just a big problem for us, as I said before, in the deck tech. We just really have a difficult time dealing with Quantum Riddler once it hits the board. If you want to be playing like a fair mid-rangey deck with a somewhat aggro strategy, I think you're probably going to be wanting to play Jeskai Blink. I think it's basically trying to do a very similar thing that Boros Energy is, but it's doing it better. Playing the Quantum Riddler. Quantum Riddler is just like an instant modern staple, really. And then I think we lost the Prowess. Is it Murktide Splashing Green deck? I think we like kind of read it wrong for game 2. We got there game 1. Game 2, we lost. And in game 3, it was just like they had the Pyroclasm when we had the aggressive start. And it was like, maybe we could have held back a little bit. But again, because they're semi-prowess, like they just get to hit in pretty hard themselves pretty fast. But we didn't find a great way to stabilize. And they were just holding up Counterspell the entire match. Living In got us on the first round, but Vexing Bauble just puts in a lot of work there. That's why I think Vexing Bauble, along with a few other things, is the reason we don't really see these suspend strategies like Crashing Footfalls or Living End anymore. They really try, but I think there's just too much interaction for those decks right now for them to survive. But yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for the wrap-up. Thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment what deck you want to see me play next, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.